Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. How's it going? Sorry it's so late. Something came up and I needed a little extra time tonight. That and I have just a ton of stuff I've got to talk about tonight. So I'm also doing some little specials, so we'll see how that goes. Quite excited. Doing pretty good. Hope everyone's doing good. Jake Carlson's in the chat. Hi, Jake Carlson. Always nice to have you here. Switching from Coke or Dr. Pepper or soda tonight to good old-fashioned Powerade that's sweating and just looking very appetizing. So I figured I'd give people about a minute or so to show up, and then I'd be talking comics. What else going on in the world? Comic Book Club. Should talk about that right off the bat. For people watching after the fact, they'll be releasing a solo video announcement thing. So I did a Twitter poll, and the book that went out is Captain America: Man Out of Time for the next installment of Comic Book Club, which will be March 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, March 17th. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have till then to get and read Captain America: Man Out of Time. So I hope you'll be there to join us. Again, like I said, I'll be making a solo video. For those that don't know what Comic Book Club is, it's a new series we're starting on the channel. This will be the second episode, wherein if you read and enjoy this in a legal fashion, you can join us to discuss it live for, an hour or so, give or take, or however long the conversation goes. We'll be talking about Captain America, Man Out of Time, a book club. Simple as that. Anyone's allowed to join. All you need to do is have a microphone and headphones, at the very least, webcam preferred. But what happens, happens. See you there. And I'll talk about that at the end of the show also. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes. Let's take a swig and get into what we'll be talking about tonight. Tonight, for single issue books, we have Trinity, number 18, Daredevil, number 599, Batwoman, number 12, Batman, number 41. See if I can do this, because I need to add something. I should have done this beforehand. Screen capture, just the whole screen. Why not? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I got the whole screen up here. How do I resize it? There we go. All right, you can see me in the past. One of the other books we'll be talking about is Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia, number 1. I got a message on Twitter. Someone requested me to review this for them. They're the publisher of the book. So I was quite excited to do that. That's a first for me. That'll be fun. So I'll be talking about that later. And then we'll be talking about, still Batman number 1. We'll be talking about DC Bombshells United, number 12. The Brave and the Bold, Batman Wonder Woman, number 1. And Super Sons number 13 to close out the episode. Close out the single issues, rather. For Trade Talk this week, now that we've finished the No Man's Land series, we'll be talking about Star Wars Volume 6 by Jason Aaron, Out Among the Stars. So, quite a lot to get through this week, I'm sure you can tell. And let's go ahead and start with Trinity, number 18. So I've talked about how I'm really not a huge fan of this book, and it's really not. I joined because of Francis Manapul, and Francis Manapul hasn't been on the book in a long time, it seems, and I don't know if he's coming back. And the idea of sending Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman to the center of the earth just doesn't interest me that much. But I will say, this issue had a moment, a single moment, that made me laugh and get up, and I had to go show it to my wife. So that was just pretty enjoyable, and I'm going to share and spoil that moment right away. This this single panel might be worth the price of the book. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman riding unicorns. I mean, how can you not find that amazing and hilarious? And I just lost my shit laughing at it. It was really, really funny. I got a kick out of that one. And so it kind of put me just in a better mood and a better mind space for the rest of the book. Didn't make the book much better, but I was just like, there's fucking Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman riding unicorns. I mean, what can you do? But anyway, they're going to help save center of the earth, blah, 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 blah. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman working together as a team. Nah, 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 nah. But by the end, they're all old. Meh. Whatever. I don't know. The art's good. Who's doing the art on this one? I have it here. I always look at the book, but I always write it down before the show, which is why I started late, by the way. Patch Zurcher did the art, and I mean, it looks good. There's no denying that the art looks good. I just wish James Robinson could write these characters better. James Robinson's like 90s god, one of them big writers from the 90s, but he's not impressed me here, and it feels like he's one of those guys who hasn't read comics since the 90s. And I don't want to make like full claims that I have intimate knowledge of him or anything. I'm just like, it just feels like he's writing these characters stuck in the 90s in a certain way, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel like modern Superman. It feels like the way Superman was written in the 90s, which isn't like awful, but you know, the characters evolved in ways since then. These are not stones that never change, you know? These are not statues. They are evolving pieces of art. And so, I don't know. Again, you see something like this in a book, and you can't help but smile at it and kind of enjoy it and take it as fun. But just, I don't know. Not a huge fan, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it because we got other stuff to talk about tonight. Let's see, what was Jake Carlson saying about Trinity, though? Trinity is getting canceled by issue 20 or something. Oh, okay. Not heartbroken over that one. So Manapul isn't coming back, but we know he's working on the No Justice series. I'd not heard of No Justice. Certainly makes me curious, though. I'll give you that. We'll see. Well, we shall see. Let's go ahead and go on to Daredevil, number 599. This continues the Mayor Fisk storyline, and I gotta say, I really like this cover, because this cover tells you everything that goes on in this issue, to an extent, and that's really, really cool, where Matt is completely unable to focus on anything, because all he can hear is Fisk. And it's not that he's only hearing, you know, Wilson Fisk. He's hearing everybody talking about Wilson Fisk. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of an interesting idea that, like, again, the connection to real life here is apparent, right? Like, if you are someone who is left-wing, or even if you're a centrist or whatever, it's impossible to go through life right now and not hear people talking about the president. It's just, there were days, like, I hated George Bush when I was growing up, but there were, I remember long stretches of time where I never heard anything about George Bush. I grew up, or I came of age, I became an adult during Obama's presidency, and there were entire weeks where I didn't hear anything about President Obama. Every fucking week with this guy. It's some shit. And yes, sure, I'll fully admit, some of it's petty, some of it's fucking annoying. Some of it's just horrifying. Like, it's on this spectrum. And I'm just like, shit, can I just go a minute? Just like, a minute. Not even ask for 5 minutes, a minute. And so, like, the connection to that, it is doing that thing that I like comic books that I like that comic books do, wherein they take something that is happening in the real world, they take a problem that exists in the real world, then they amplify and they make it very comic booky. They take it to an incredible extreme and literalize it. So in real life, you can't hear about anything without it connecting back to Donald Trump. You can't stop hearing about Donald Trump. Matt Murdock is trying to use his powers to catch a serial killer, but he can't focus on trying to find the serial killer because all he can hear is the coverage of Wilson Fisk. I like that. That's clever. It's amazing to me that this is the quality of writing that Soule is capable of, because I've read his Poe Dameron and I've read his Darth Vader, and I don't like either of those things. To be fair, I read his Lando, too, and his Lando book was great. So it seems like he is a writer that is very hit and miss for me. But this is just very, very good. And I really like this panel where it all kind of comes to fruition as Matt tries to focus on Wilson Fisk, and like suddenly we just get this flash of Fisk choking him out. That's really cool. This isn't like literally what's happening in the book, but this is how Matt feels, and I really, really like that. Otherwise, there's some stuff going on with this other character I don't know anything about. Matt is sitting here arguing and bickering with Wilson Fisk about policy towards the Muse serial killer, and yeah, the plot's developing, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that regard. That's cool. Also, Matt has a plan working with the other heroes to destroy, or to bring down Wilson Fisk, Mayor Fisk. Dr. Holocron says, I wish Kingpin was a bit taller than Matt, and I feel like he is. He's holding him up there. Matt's not standing. So yeah. The art in here has that very, like, kind of ugly Frank Miller-y thing, but it's shaded really prettily. So I don't know if that's just meant to be a juxtaposition or just artist preference, but it's got like that really sketchy, harsh kind of Frank Miller feel with, you know, like just better coloring, I guess. I still think the design for Muse is creepy as fuck, and I really like that. Overall, really good issue. Number 600 is next, and we'll see how that goes. Good book. Definitely the best thing Charles Soule is writing that I've read. Take it for what it's worth. I gotta rearrange some shit. Messy desk. Everyone doing good? Everyone doing good? That's my question. Give me an excuse to drink. Not that I need one in this day and age. Haha, see, I got them jokes. Them jokes that are totally not depressing at all. Oh my. Alright, let's go ahead and go on to Batwoman, number 12. Margaret Bennett's a really good writer. I don't know if I tell you guys that enough, but Margaret Bennett is a really good writer. Have I mentioned that Margaret Bennett's a really good writer, and I really like the way Margaret Bennett writes? So we've been hearing throughout the entirety of the Batwoman run now, that's been 12 issues, or this is the 12th, about this lost year with Kate Kane and what she was doing on this island, and who she was with, and like who she was surrounded by, and how she fell in love with this woman who was kind of running this criminal empire on this island in order to keep the peace, and how a lot of people are against Kate Kane because they felt like she was poisoning this lady and all this stuff. And so, but now it looks like this lady is taking vengeance and is a part of the many Arms of Death organization that Kate Kane is dealing with in the modern day as Batwoman. And so it all comes to a head and we find out what went wrong between her and Kate that led to this divide. And so the island was poisoned. The foxes on the island caught some kind of disease, and Kate was working to figure out what it was and decided it had to be from some local barnacles that got into the fox's bloodstream. It's a very important detail. So that's all revealed, and it leads to an accusation, an accusation against one of the warlords, who makes a threat, but then is seemingly forgiven by the woman, Safanya. I can never fucking remember how I'm deciding how to say her name. Safaya. Leads to her forgiving him and telling him to go home to his family. And then, as he's going home, so Kate witnesses a murder that was committed more or less for her. The guy said some shit about Kate Kane, and Sophia had him killed for it in front of her eyes. This makes Kate feel awful, and she thinks about running away, and then she realizes that she was truly the cause of the foxes getting poisoned because of the circumstances under which she washed up on the island, by hitting her head on some barnacle. And this is when Sophia makes her turn and says, yeah, I knew it was you the whole time, but I blamed it on him so you and I could be together. So it's just this immediately toxic and scary relationship, like that I would kill for you, literally. That's terrifying. So Sophia, for lack of a better comparison, seems to be Kate Kane's Talia al Ghul. And that makes Kate decide firmly to leave. But Sophia kind of takes, if I can't have you, then no one can. In which, she tries to have Kate killed, and there's like this heartbreaking, overly dramatic, but I love it, comic book scene in a burning lighthouse, as Kate jumps out a window and decides to leave the island. But now consequences exist, consequences arise, and so Kate Kane's sister has been kidnapped, and she has to go to Belgium to get her back. Because Sophia kidnapped Kate Kane's sister. It's just a really good story. Like, it's really dramatic. I love Margaret Bennett's ability to write speeches. In another life, Margaret Bennett would have been a speech writer, or maybe she does write speeches. I don't know. I love this speech Sophia gives. I love you, Kate, and I protect the things I love. We both looked away from the truth we did not wish to see. You got a home, a safe haven, a second chance, and I got you. My children are safe, my island survives, and you want to hate me for that? Living is easy with closed eyes. All you've ever wanted to do is vanish inside something bigger than yourself. Vanish into the uniform or into the black, drowning in the sea or drowning in whiskey. Giving yourself up to a vision, a calling, an ideal. Anything that lets you be out of control. Anything to say, this is not my responsibility. I am not to blame. You're a drunk, Kate Kane. Plain and simple. You'll make an addiction out of anything. Not out of you. Oh, God, that is a great speech. I love that. Margaret Bennett is so good. Just, yes, that is dynamite writing right there. You'll make an addiction out of anything, which is this, like, idea that's been going on of Kate Kane being an addict, is this character arc that's been going on throughout the entire book so far. Like, the first issue opened with Kate getting a lecture about how she can only go from one drug to another, trade one addiction for another, for so long until something sobers her up. And the thing that sobers her up is being Batwoman, is seeing Batman, finally feeling inspiration, finally feeling a drive to take real personal responsibility for something, to devote herself to something, but not fall into it. And this is like that moment of where she starts on that path. She's still heavily damaged at that point in her life, but she starts on a path of self-determination and self-actualization through the mission of the Bat, by taking on the mantle of the Bat. It's great. Oh, God, knocks it out of the park again. How is Margaret Bennett this good a writer? And how are not all of you, like, in the comments going, I know, she's so good. Like, why don't you people listen to me when I tell you what to go buy? Oh, Real Manos is here. Hi, Manos. I've been thinking about getting into Batwoman. I missed the character. Trust me, 12 issues. Brilliant 12 issues. It's so good. It's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jake Carlson, for saying, I know, she's so good. I don't know if you're actually reading it, but thank you for indulging me, if nothing else. Art. Who did the art on this issue? Batwoman number 2, art by, or 12. Art by Scott Godlewski. 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 Polish? Guessing. Great art, as always. Some really great emotion. I want to get back to, like, there's a lot of expressiveness on Kate Kane's face in this. For a book that's not very action-heavy, he gets a lot done with the ability to show emotion in some of these panels. Like, I really, really like the not out of you moment here is heightened so well by this just fantastic framing on Kate Kane. And it looks like you should get a ton of detail out of these eyes, but it's really, you know, as well as my camera can show, it's really relatively simplistic, but incredibly effective, and I really like that. Nice shading on the nose to, you know, highlight it, but let it kind of fall away into the face. I just get a lot of emotion out of this. The glimmer and lighting effects on the eyes here really makes it look like she's on the verge of tears. And I really, really do love that. Also, this whole sequence right here. Sophia's face. I really like the rendering on her. Sophia and Talia al Ghul could be best friends. God, just the look of her is so... You know, this is where you really get to feel that she's so imposing and terrifying, and I really like that about her. She looks scary, and she, you know, that's the point, is she's supposed to have been this, you know, innocent or nurturing character this whole time, but she's still so scary. And then there's just this moment. This moment's really great because so much is done with body language in this panel, where Sophia goes and hugs this guy who is just cursing at her, and like he's so taken aback and she looks so sad. He's like, oh God, Maxim, shh. And like he starts freaking out, immediately drops to his knees. I didn't mean it, Sophia. I was angry. I'm drunk. Shh, Maxim. It is forgiven. Now go home. Go to your wife. It will all turn out fine. As she just sends him to, like, that is the signal that he's going to be murdered. That is the signal to her cohorts, to her henchmen, to murder this guy for speaking out against her. Shit. Like, it's so twisted because this nurturing image of her that we've had throughout the entire run there is immediately subverted, but it's still visually nurturing, even though his reaction, like both in the dialogue and physically, that of being hugged, his reaction is so counter to what being nurtured is. You know, someone hugs you, you don't step back from it in shock. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know your life. You don't step back from it in shock, but he does. And so that tells you that something's fucked right now. And 2 pages later, he's stabbed to death. Like, death by 1,000 cuts kind of shit. Fuck. It's a really good book. It's a really good book, y'all. It's a good book. Margaret Bennett's a really good writer, and the art's pretty, and it's a really good book. And guys, it's a really good book. A lot of intensity, a lot of coolness. I really like this as she dives into the ocean from the lighthouse. Just some great scenes. I don't know why people don't listen to me when I tell you to go buy Batwoman. You know, I'm sure the first trade is out, so that'd be, I think the DC Rebirth #1, not the Batwoman #1, but the DC Rebirth Batwoman #1. It's weird how they did that, whatever. I think that was the strongest issue of the series. This probably just replaced it, which is a good sign that 12 issues in, they paid off a lot of the brilliant ideas that they set up, and it did a fantastic job. I really, really like this series and the direction in which it's going, so I am going to continue to read it. It's really, really good, and you should be reading it too if you bothered to listen to me when I told you to do things. Also, you should clean your room and help your mother with the dishes. I don't care if you don't live at home anymore. Go home, help your mom with the dishes. She'll appreciate it. Alright, what did I say I was doing next? Okay, Batman, and then, alright. Batman, #41, written by Tom King with art by Mikel Janin. Mikel? So this issue has a lot of controversy around it, and I don't want to be dismissive of people that don't enjoy this or don't like this take on Poison Ivy, because I certainly get that. But if you are like me and you are in the camp that Poison Ivy is a villain, not a hero, a villain with sympathetic motivations, certainly, but a villain nonetheless, this is a really, really good Poison Ivy story. For Poison Ivy being a villain, or the introduction to a Poison Ivy story. It sets her up as an incredible challenge for Batman to overcome, in the way a villain should be. Now, if you like the more anti-hero or morally gray Poison Ivy, I still think there's things here, but she's very clearly not a saint. Let me put it that way. There's this fan base around Poison Ivy that really, really likes her and wants her to be a hero, wants her to be characterized as a good gal. I just don't. I think, end of the day, she kills people. She's an anti-hero at best, and I don't like the idea of Poison Ivy being seen as good. I don't dig it at all. So, you know, we've seen things with Poison Ivy before wherein she uses her powers to take people over. Very famously, of course, Ian walks away because he's always so prepared, because he totally thought of this point before doing the show and not in the middle of making this point. No, but we've seen things where Ivy takes people over before, and, you know, this being no exception. But I think the most famous example is still in Long Halloween, where she, like, has control of Bruce Wayne for a month. Let's see if I can find it. St. Patrick's Day is the one? Huh. That's weird. Let's see if I can find the really, really cool imagery of... Yeah, God, Tim Sale. Oh, it's so good. Tim Sale. Yeah, this one's really cool. you know, I love that of Ivy having control over Bruce Wayne and making him do things. We've done this song and dance before. It's also been used to have her control Superman at one point. So in Batman number 41, Poison Ivy is having a conversation with you. Hello. Oh, hello. How nice to see you here. How unexpected. I know we've met, but just in case, I'm Ivy. And I really love Michael Janin's art. He's just damn good. It's a really, really gorgeous rendering of Poison Ivy throughout this book. I really like his art style. So anyways, Ivy is having a conversation with you, and the ultimate reveal in this... One more look at gorgeous Ivy. The ultimate reveal in this is that Ivy has taken over the entire world. Talking to Bruce and Selina, who are the only ones who managed to not be enraptured because Bruce was able to think on his feet fast enough. Talking to them through Alfred. I like Alfred's word balloons are green. Though we'll say, small complaint before I get back to describing things. I don't like that when we see Ivy talking, her word balloons have black text. I would have liked to keep the green text. Minor thing, but still. So, like, how total, when I say Ivy has control of everyone in the world except Bruce and Selina, how much control? That much control. She has enough control to have control over the Flash so that she can just use him to take a punch so she continue to talk shit to Bruce. So yeah, she is pretty fucking OP here. I like that. Just grows a forest castle. Let it go, let it go. Grows a forest castle for herself and has control of the world. I really like this speech. Because Bruce asks her, what do you want? Oh, Batman, or rather, Bruce Wayne. What do I want? Don't you understand? Every person holding a gun, every army waiting for orders, every man with a missile, every woman with a bomb, every superhero, supervillain, every master of magic, explorer of the infinite, the smartest alive, every human attempting to be a god. Everyone. They all love me. I feel them. Understand each of them as I understand the green. I control them. All of them as I control the green. Want? No, 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 no. You see, I don't want anything, Batman. I already have everything. That's good. That's really good. That's just fucking maniacal, man. Oof. Like, it's that ultimate scary situation. You know, I feel like Ivy and Darkseid are now the two that have control over the entire planet. So that's one hell of a feat for Ivy. Gotta love that. That's pretty good. You know, that puts her up on a certain villain tier, and I gotta respect it. And so, what it comes down to is, if you don't like the idea of Poison Ivy being a villain, I'm sorry, but there's precedent for that shit, so I don't feel you have room to complain. If you like Poison Ivy being an anti-hero or being more of a morally gray character, who's not expressly a villain, I don't know. Go buy Brave and the Bold. Or not Brave and the Bold. Go buy Birds of Prey, because that's where that's happening in. Does this create a continuity error? Sure. Ask me how many fucks I give. Go ahead, ask. I can tell you. I give 0 Zero fucks. Oh. Deadpoolzilla says, so does this tie into the Brave and the Mold story? You know, I don't know, especially with her mentioning the green, with Tom King having just written an issue of Swamp Thing, or a story of Swamp Thing. It seems interestingly timed, and I'm curious to see how it's going to end. That is a really, really interesting question. I don't know. It's one of those interesting things. Man, guess Swamp Thing got kicked off the job. Yeah, he wasn't getting shit done. I'm amazed Bruce would even lay a hand on Alfred under mind control or not. Good point. Jake Carlson also says, won't she know everyone's secret identities now? Or I guess she wouldn't care. I mean, she mentions that she knows it's Bruce Wayne. I don't know. Fucking fight. I guess, technically, it was interesting when you see that she's taking control of the world. You get this epic-ass 2-page spread of all these people saying that they love Ivy. And, of course, Superman and Wonder Woman being heavily featured there, along with soldiers, terrorists, the president. It's really obviously Trump. There's even a guy wearing the red hat. So, you know, there's a lot of reaction. So I think that's a gorilla soldier, or maybe it's Grodd. So she even has control over Gorilla City. That's very surprising. But yeah, so Ivy is controlling the world right now, and Batman and Selina Kyle are the only two immune. And I really like this conversation between them. Everyone? I don't know. How? I don't know. And how can, if she, the League, our families, all of them, how can we, I don't know. It's that's a really good villain issue. If she can be this good a villain, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that we need her to be an anti-hero. Don't we have Swamp Thing to be the like protector of the environment that goes too far? Like, I don't really know what purpose she serves in that role if Swamp Thing's still around, besides just being the female embodiment of the green. And maybe that could be more powerful. Like, what do you do with that, you know? I don't know, like, if you love Poison Ivy and you think she's misunderstood or whatever, I guess, but I just can't see you being angry at a story that's writing her that damn impressively. Like, this is just a really, really cool scenario. You know, I've read enough Batman. I usually go, okay, so this villain has this evil plan. What are they going to do? Or how's Batman going to get out of it? And most of the time, I don't know. But I've got theories, I've got ideas of what he could do. This doesn't feel like a Batman problem. This feels like a Green Lantern problem to me, which is to say, a cosmic threat. Like, I don't know how anyone else beats this. Like, Batman can help, but they set up that there's no cure for what she's done. And I imagine they'll probably find a way to cure it, but I don't know. Interesting stuff. I liked it. I thought it was good. Again, Mikael Janin, just, oh, it's gorgeous. There's so much malice in that. Look at the eyes. Venomous. Toxic. Alright. Give me a sec. Live comments saying, the only place safe from Poison Ivy is Cybertron. I'll never be as funny as Manos. I don't know why you guys watch my videos when you watch Manos' videos. All Batman villains have a point. Yes. But they are not the good guys. Yeah, obviously. I don't know. Cybertron is good unless the finale of Beast Machines happened. Sure, whatever that means. Okay. Anyway. Alright, let me make sure this technology works. There we go. You can see my screen. And it's actually... Is it creating infinite screens? I'm just curious because I'm a child and I find... Yeah, okay. I'm creating infinite screens, so I better get away from that. Alright, so... I mentioned this at the top of the show, but obviously more people are showing up. We do still have more books to go through, but I was requested via Twitter to review Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia #1. This was an interesting request that popped up. I got a request from the publisher directly, so I was really excited. This has never happened for me. I feel all giddy to be doing it, and I'm really excited to talk about this book. So I should say first and foremost that I am not a wrestling fan. I know there's like a large section of the geek community, the comic book community, that are both fans of superheroes and fans of comics. I am not one of them. I've always been like really neutral at best on wrestling, and sorry I'm fucking with a million windows right now. There we go. Can that work? Can I put this over it? There we go. Okay. I'm figuring things out as I go here. But yeah, I'm not a fan of those things, so like this just felt more natural for me to do. And so I'm here to talk about Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. Now, is it actually showing this on the screen, or are you just seeing me fuck with things? Huh. I don't know which screen I'm showing. Oh, no, that's not the screen I want. Alright, hold on. Screen capture. The whole screen. Okay. Does that include the PDF? Or no? That's the thing that matters right now. I don't want Mozilla to be the thing that's captured. Try it one more time. Have this thing up. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Technology's a pain in the ass. There we go. Alright. Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. Put me on top. And we'll make my screen just a little bit bigger. Put me over in this corner right here. Alright. Hi. There. You can see me now. Okay. Technology is fun like that. Anyway, so yeah, I got a request to review this on Twitter, and I'm really excited to talk about it. But I am not a fan of wrestling. I never was growing up. But I know there's a large section of the nerd community that are like both fans of wrestling and fans of comic books and stuff. So I thought this was like a really interesting kind of tongue-in-cheek idea to do as a comic book. I thought it'd be really fun to read as kind of that outsider perspective. The first thing I want to talk about is, as an indie comic, art is always all over the place, so I just wanted to like quickly scroll through it and give you a look at some of the art you get in this, and just to say, you know, it's pretty solid art. It looks really good. It's nice and well rendered, nice and polished looking art, and it's impressive. It doesn't look amateurish at all. The artist on this is Dan Schakte, S-C-H-K-A-D-E. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. And he does a really solid job. Like, you can tell he's professional working. You know, not to compare too heavily, but it does remind me of the nice, you know, deceptively minimalist, deceptively simple style of Mike Allred. So, you know, a lot of the stuff I think looks really good. Now, the basic story here is that a professional wrestler, Rory Landell, or as he's otherwise known, let's see here. Rock and Roll Rory Landell announces that he's like a, you know, normal, standard, everyday professional wrestler who wants a shot at the title, but because of his persona not being very family friendly in 1999 and the politics of wrestling, the politics of the professional wrestling world, you know, that one. Politics of the professional wrestling world do not allow him to be the champ. So, frustrated, he decides to kind of cause a big scene and declare himself, I'm saying the World Championship is old news. As of now, you're looking at the new Galactic Champion of the Universe. And he walks out. And it doesn't matter where you go, Daddy. Venus, Pluto, Saturn, rock and roll, Rory Landell is the champion of the universe. There could be a Martian 50 feet tall with 20 arms, each with 24-inch biceps, and I'd have him laid on his Martian back, pinned to the 1, 2, 3 count. And with his last smelly Martian breath, he'd say, Landell, you one rude rockin' dude with a bad attitude, and you can lay your last dime on that. Buddy, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but indulge. The dialogue is so hilariously on point. It's a comedy action book, and the comedy totally works for me in a hilarious way of someone who knows very, very little about wrestling. I had some friends who were into professional wrestling, growing up, and so I'm a little aware of the culture, but that shit was funny. But that kind of blows up his career, and so he's kind of forced to go to lesser avenues, like working in an Indian casino and fighting a little person who's like a high flyer. So you get some cool, fun, tongue-in-cheek action like that. That was pretty cool. But that gets him fired because he's not behaving properly. He apparently had sex in a car the casino was giving away. And all this is to say that his career has gone down the tubes while his signal claiming galactic wrestling, professional wrestling champion of the galaxy has reached Planet WrestleTopia, where the ruler, Manifest Destiny, has determined that he is the true galactic wrestling champion. And so it's going to lead to the invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. So this was just a lot of fun. This isn't quite up my alley as far as things. I definitely can tell you I would not have picked this up on my own, but since it was requested, I had a lot of fun reading it, and it's got just really great sense of comedy, and I feel some pretty solid insights into what the professional wrestling industry is actually like. What was that movie with Mickey Rourke a couple years ago about the professional wrestler? Oh man, that's gonna bother me. Does anyone in my live comments know? Can you help me out? Oh man, I don't know. I can't recall the name of the movie, but yeah, it reminds me, like, there's a little bit of that insight. It's not quite as tragic or anything, but there's a little sense of that. I'm definitely reminded of that, and I'm getting quite a laugh out of this, and that's exactly the tone they wanted. I mean, it's called Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. If this was written stone-faced serious, I would feel so bad talking about it, because I cannot imagine how you would make that, like, not hilarious. But there's some real drama in here, too, that I quite like, and it's fun, and I hope just, like, seeing the art really will get people interested. If I have subscribers that are that crossbreed of geek between WWE and comic books, you know, this definitely looks like the book you've been waiting your entire life for, so I hope you check it out. Like, look at her. She's got fruit on her head. It's cute. Yeah, I would recommend this if you're in that crowd, or if you just like some, like, kind of silly comic booky stuff. It's definitely over the top and fun. Oh, when a disgruntled professional wrestler declares himself galactic champion of the universe, an alien planet of wrestlers see it as an act of war. Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia, a limited action comedy. Also like this scene in the beginning, this prologue, wherein this guy's like a space wrestling jockey, I guess, and comes in. It's like, from Deep George WrestleTopia, weighing in at a big super daddy, 452 pounds, the king of crush, the sultan of squash, the yeah, confirmed. What's your report, Carter? That's Crater Maker. That's great. I loved it. I had a lot of fun with this. This was certainly enjoyable to me, and I think some other people would get a kick out of it. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next book. Once I figure out this darned technology. Hi, how's everybody doing? Am I back? Is everything good? The Wrestler. The movie's called The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. Well, with a title that distinct, how could I have missed it? All right. Whew. Let's go ahead and go on to Bombshells United, number 12. Margaret Bennett is a really good writer. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but that Margaret Bennett, she sure writes good. Anyway. So this story opened, or rather had a moment in it that dealt with tales that talk about a red thread. Different legends and myths from around the world that discuss red thread and things that surround it. So like the fates, of course, get mentioned. And it all kind of comes back here as we realize that Margaret Bennett's, or that Kate Kane, her red thread is Jason Todd. Jake Carlson, thank you. I know, she is so good. Her red thread is Jason Todd. Her soul is connected to Jason Todd. But Jason, Black Adam's Isis, and the Minotaur know that their time came and went, and that they're not meant to be walking the earth anymore. I really like this line, by the way. Black Adam, my prince turned tyrant, my beloved profaned. I reject your gifts of resurrection, immortality, and a conquered world. My hours came and my hours passed. I do not regret the life I lived, nor the life I gave. Goodbye, my prince. I return to my sleep in the land of the dead. My hours came and my hours passed. So they decide that they are not meant to be in the world anymore. Their existence is profane. They are not meant to be around anymore. And together they step back into the Lazarus pit to die. And one thing I've talked about with Margaret Bennett is she is a very good writer, but she, I feel, uses speeches and just speeches in general, but dialogue too, as a bit of a crutch. Like, she'll fill a book with it, and that'll be the thing that drives a lot of stuff. It's still well plotted and everything, but her strongest part is her dialogue, and she leans very heavily on her dialogue. So this page, where Jason Todd steps back into the Lazarus pit to die, having no dialogue on it, no monologue, no speech, no nothing, just being a goodbye. It's a very impactful moment. And I think she realized that no words are really going to capture the emotion of just seeing him go into The Void. It's a really touching scene. I'm not a huge Jason Todd fan, and I know there are people that hate him to death. This is not based on any Jason I've ever read. This is, for all intents and purposes, an original character named Jason Todd. And I don't even think he's called Jason Todd. He's definitely called Jason, but he's obviously, killed. Get the bat character holding him scene, and then brought back with the Lazarus Pit as Jason Todd. Seeing him go like that, though, that's painful. That is hard to read in the best possible way. It's very emotional, but not manipulative. Like, it doesn't feel like cheap. One of my things with comic books and movies and stuff that really aggravates me is that death is cheap now. Death doesn't mean anything. And it's just a thing people come back from in comics. This is final. Like, you could conceivably continue Bombshells and, until Bennett leaves, because she's said her piece with Jason Todd here. You could conceivably continue it and bring Jason Todd back again. But there's no point. Jason's character is completed here when he decides he had his time and it's up, and he needs to go back to the land of the dead. It's really, really heartbreaking in that way, but it's really, really good. Thoroughly impressed by this moment. And the death of Isis again makes Black Adam realize that he's been around too long, and so he finally comes to peace and accepts death himself, crumbling away into ashes, and being reincarnated as a bird. And that pretty much concludes this story, but there's a lot of really good moments here. I really like this sequence. This is just a really good sequence out of context. Kate Kane sitting on the bench with Miri Marvel behind her. What happens now, Miri? What always happens? Life. And then we cut to Robins in the sun. There is life everywhere, Kate Kane. Up above and down below, the smallest things manage to struggle and survive and reach toward the sun. Life goes on, so must you. We are here to live, to tell stories, and to make histories. We all get a lifetime, and the greatest freedom is to choose what we do with it. We honor memory, atone for wrongs, strive to fix what can be saved, and we let the dead sleep, in peace and in power, until a day of final understanding. Grieve, my friend, because grief is the cost of all love, and a price worth the pain 10 times, 1,000 times over. Come out of the dark and the grave, out of the past, all of its sorrows. Return to the world that waits and needs you still. You've been called back from the underworld, where you rested and slept and dreamed the sweetest dream. And now, awaken. It's, again, Margaret Bennett's very, very good, and very, very good at dialogue. As great as that speech was, I don't know if he even holds a candle to Jason just into the void. It's really sweet. It's really bittersweet, but sweet. And then it looks like there might be some drama brewing in the future as the the death of Jason, the initial death of Jason, is what destroyed Kate Kane and Renee Montoya's relationship in this continuity. It's why they went their separate ways, and that happens to people who lose children. Often in real life, a lot of couples that get married and have a kid, and for whatever reason the kid dies, they actually end up separating because of that trauma. And so Jason's return and them getting to be with him again and then seeing him off like that seems to have brought them back together in a way, which is, you know, a bit of a dun-dun-dun, because Maggie Sawyer has been waiting for Kate Kane back in Gotham since issue number 2 of DC Bombshells, not even Bombshells United. And so that really makes you wonder what's going to happen with their relationship and what that's going to mean. Because Kate Kane is now divided between two loves, as she's beginning, it seems, to reunite with Renee Montoya. Incredibly interesting, incredibly good. I really like this panel. I just noticed this. I want to show it off. We end with a bunch of kids playing, and up in the corner, there's a robin flying. That's really beautiful. I really, really like that. It's really, really good. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. How can a book be this good? How? Who's doing the art on this one? That would be Sandy Jarrell. Really solid job, really effective emotion communicated in this. Again, this scene with Jason stepping into the pit, into the void, accepting death. There's a lot done with that. He looks so at peace, which is necessary. Like, he can't go into the void scared. Otherwise, the message of acceptance of death, of embracing death, doesn't function. So that's really good. I really, really like that. Just a really solid book, man. Cannot tell you enough how much I like this book. If you're not reading Bombshells, I don't know what I can say to convince you that it's one of the best books coming out of literally anything over the last couple of years. But you do you. You just continue to not read quality comic books. I guess, you know, I can't make you do good things for yourself. All right. Whew. Oh, what did I do? No. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on to The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman, #1. This is by Liam Sharp. I was really excited when this series was first announced, because Liam Sharp was the artist at the beginning of Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman run. I'm trying to remember if he did the whole run or just parts of it. But anyway, so Liam Sharp got to do his own book with Wonder Woman and Batman. This first issue is much heavier on Wonder Woman and setting up what the story is going to be about for people that are wondering. No. Okay, I'll stop. One thing I like is when we write superheroes, especially the mythic DC superheroes like the Trinity as they are, really down to earth and just realistically. So I really like this scene where Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor have just gone away for a week to have sex on vacation, but to have sex, like they're just having sex. That's just real, just wanting to be away from it all and spend time with the person you love, especially with Steve and Diana constantly being separated because of what they do. And it's just really good. It's just a really natural scene, and then it's also hilarious. That's that it was, and we still have the rest of the night and the rest of the week, I hope. Hope! We're in a cabin in Villa Las Estrellas, Antarctica. There's no phone, no Wi-Fi. Hell, there's no damn electricity. And we didn't tell a soul we were coming here. I think we're good. And in the narration, it is widely known that if you wish to make the gods laugh, make a plan. And then the dude just shows up in the middle of their little cabin. The ultimate cockblock! The mythical Norse cockblock god. That's funny. I love that. That was really, really funny. Diana, daughter of Hippolyta, princess of Themyscira, most beloved of the Amazons, I am Coronis Sranach, lord of fertility in the hunt, distant cousin of those whom you call patrons. I request an audience with you, milady. Just shows up. Did I interrupt? It's pretty good. So he informs Diana of a ailment that is going on with his mythic people who left the realms of man as they quit being worshipped, and as they continued to not be worshipped, they lost more and more access to any other world but the world in which they went, which is the world of fairy. Mythology is complicated. But they've lost connection to the world because of a lack of belief in them, and as they've become more and more isolated, these different groups of mythical creatures and beings are beginning to fight amongst themselves, and the leader is having a hard time maintaining peace. So this guy, Coronis, has been sent as a envoy to request Diana's help in brokering a peace between the peoples again. I also really like this. Please forgive the human male, my lord, and be most assuredly welcome here. There is nothing to forgive, my lady. Please continue your lover's tryst. The rutting of the beast with two backs was long my domain, and I would gladly anoint such a union with my... No, we weren't... I meant... Thank you for your blessing. Thank you for blessing us with your generous offer, Lord Coronis, but we must regretfully decline your company at this time. That's just... Would you like me to give you a baby? Would you like me to help you get pregnant? I can do that. That's my thing as a god. It's just, you know, we don't think about that anymore. Like, obviously, couples that are religious today, they pray to God to help them get pregnant, but we forget about the idea that there was literally a god for helping you get pregnant or helping you have kids in multiple ancient mythologies. So I just... Who better to interrupt your fuck session than the god of fertility? No, I can sit here. I'll just watch if that's cool with you. This is kind of a fun book. This is a bit of a dirty book. Meanwhile, Batman is noticing some strange behavior in the Irish Quarter, the historically Irish neighborhood of Gotham that's totally existed the whole time. I remember all the comics in which the Irish Quarter was mentioned. Batman is noticing some strange activity there, so goes to investigate, but seems kind of caught in the strangeness himself. As Diana makes the trip and prepares to help broker a peace, and Liam Sharp's artwork is fucking amazing. My God, I'm really engrossed in the story, and I think it's got just not like, it's not like super tongue in cheek, but it's got little moments of like, okay, this is actually gonna kind of be funny. Maybe that was tongue in cheek, you know, just a little tongue in cheek. Not like, but no, just a little. But no, he's got some gorgeous fucking artwork, and it's really, really beautiful, and I really, really like it. And he's showing off the pencils, so you can definitely find some of this stuff online. But just, man, look at that. He does a really good job. I like that we're blending a lot of mythologies with Wonder Woman right now in the comics, because when the Rucka run started up, we had, obviously the patrons being kind of like a much vaguer sense of Greek gods than we've ever gotten with them transforming into animals. But we also got the voodoo god that made Cheetah. That was Cheetah was born of a pact with gods. And so to have Liam Sharp come back on the book and be doing this and give us the Norse, give us some Irish Celtic mythology, not Norse, Irish Celtic mythology is really, really cool. It's not well done, but it's cool that the new gods are, or Darkseid at least, is a thing right now in the main book. How crazy is it that the Norse mythology, or not, goddamn it, not Norse, that the Celtic mythology is actually done better than fucking comic book mythology. Liam Sharp is an artist first, a writer second. I think it is fair to say he is writing a book better than James Robinson for Wonder Woman in one issue. I'm having more fun with this. It looks better because Liam Sharp's doing such great work with the art. It's written well. The dialogue doesn't feel forced. Wonder Woman actually feels like Wonder Woman and like the actual main character here. Like anytime you see, obviously Batman's name is first in the title here, but Batman's barely in this first issue. This is a Wonder Woman story. Who do gods come to when they need help? Wonder Woman. It's great. So anyway, she goes, but by the time they get there, there has been a murder of the king, and the situation has unraveled greatly. But Diana insists that there must be evidence against the boy accused, and says, "What evidence do you have?" Meanwhile, Batman is suffering, seeing, monsters in Gotham. And really, he's just staggering around the Irish Quarter like everybody else. So, my prediction is going to be that somehow or another, Wonder Woman is going to get Batman to come to the realm of fairy and investigate the crime of regicide. That's the murder of a king, to figure out who committed that murder. And yeah. It's cool. It's just cool. I'm loving this book already, and we're one issue in. Manos just popped back up and he says, "Cool, you're still doing this. Lindsay and I went to Walgreens to get some discount Valentine's Day candy." Well, Manos, since you're here, Wonder Woman, Batman, Brave and the Bold, 6-issue series by Liam Sharp. Just first issue came out today. Highly recommend. Really good Wonder Woman story. Plus, Wonder Woman Steve Trevor are totally fucking. Yay. I just really like these scenes with them fucking. Like, this is just really good where, like, she goes, "Okay, I will help you. But may I be granted an hour alone to ready myself for the task ahead?" "As you desire, my lady." Poof! Pops away. Steve Trevor, "An hour? Never known you to need an hour to get ready for anything. Ever. You don't even wear makeup. Why would you?" Oh. Oh, I like that. Go, Steve. Good on you, Steve Trevor. You deserve that. She's like, "Hey, I know we had like a whole week of fucking plan, but I gotta go negotiate a peace between this mythical realm, so one for the road." digging it. You know, it's that proper level. Like it's a little bit funny, but it's also, you know, it's also just cool. I dig it. It's real. It's real. Steve needs like 20 minutes. Well, he's got an hour. So there you go. Anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. Highly recommend this. Liam Sharp's artwork, again, just absolutely incredible. I could almost flip to any random page and you can see some beautiful stuff. I'm curious exactly how much of a role Batman's going to have in this, because Liam Sharp talked about wanting to do this book mostly to write Wonder Woman. Batman seems like kind of thrown in as a sales bonus. But his Batman art looks good. I really like the way he draws Batman. It really reminds me of Brian Boland. Like a darker way, not a darker Brian Boland, but like it looks darker than the way Brian Boland draws Batman. That might just be the shading, but like this panel in particular, very Boland-esque. Well, you should have, Manos. You should have picked this up today. Why didn't you pick this up today? You knew it was going to be good. It's got Wonder Woman. That's not true. Not every comic book with Wonder Woman is good, and that is disappointing. Alright. One more single issue. I can do this. It's only been an hour and 16 minutes. You should have picked it up. Wonder Woman was fucking in it. Why didn't you pick up the book in which Wonder Woman fucked? For shame. Anyway, Super Sons number 13. This book's getting canceled. This is what happens when you don't listen to me. Amazing books end. Amazing books end because you don't listen to me. For shame on all of you. And just, look at the cover. Talia al Ghul, Mother Knows Best. Mother Knows Best. Listen to your mother. It's a very Disney musical episode of comic reviews. I sang Let It Go earlier. Now I'm doing Mother Knows Best. Anyway, so John and Damian are now going to the same school. Damian arrives every morning via helicopter, like a boss. And he is very unpopular in his new school. He got, apparently, his entire class homework to have to read 200 pages and take a test. So no one likes him, which he's pretty happy about. Because Damian's incredibly antisocial. John, however, fits in very well, plays sports, has his whole thing, though he is obviously more of a nerdy, kind of like, he's playing up like his nerdiness a little bit. So that's cool. He's got kind of a interesting little back and forth thing going with a Georgia? Yeah, Georgia. Girl named Georgia, so there's kind of like a cute little kid interaction going there. Not sure if it's going to be early puppy love, but you never know. Anyway, Damian hears something and goes to investigate, but is quickly taken into the shadows and has his mother holding a sword to his throat. This obviously angers John, because John's a good friend. But anyway, Talia gives Damian a mission saying that his skills as a world-class assassin are being blunted here in this school with lesser children, and that's pissing Damian off a little bit. So he wants to investigate what the hell his mother's doing in Metropolis, and he and John take down a bunch of assassins who are just, oh, that's funny. Red Leader Entele says, that's just how Talia gives hugs. Woo! That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. It's just how Talia gives hugs. She's just that kind of mother. J. Carlson saying whitewash Talia again. I disagree. I think she is colored very dark skin, looks very Middle Eastern in this book. Get some panels of her in daylight, and she's got, you know, that brownish hue to her skin. I'd say she's very much Middle Eastern in this. But anyway, Talia's in Gotham, or not in Gotham, in Metropolis, on a mission because there's some kind of big infighting between different assassination groups, and she's trying to generate some cash flow so that she can restart the League of Assassins. And the mission that she's on, who's she been hired to kill? John Kent's mother, Lois Lane. Woo! I like the next preview. Holy matricide, Batman! Oh, it's great. It's great. I love it. It's great. And I love it. And I love it. And it's great. And I hate all of you for not reading this book, because this book's great. And it's getting canceled because you're all bad people. You're all horrible people who are not reading Super Sons. This book was too good for you anyway. You bastards. Is Jake Carlson making fun of my HD webcam's camera quality? Come on. That's, yeah, I don't know. The lighting tends to change drastically whenever I hold up the book. It's weird. You know, I did suggest that I would gladly set up a GoFundMe or something for a webcam, secondary webcam, to just get like directly over the book with proper lighting and stuff, so that you guys could see a better quality preview of each issue as I flip through it. And I'm still willing to do that if y'all are willing to pay for it. So let me know in the comments if you want to contribute to better quality stuff than me going, here, let me get this panel close to the screen. Man. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'm excited for the next issue. I'm disappointed that it's not gonna keep going. You'll notice I have the number 1000 written on my hand in marker that is slowly fading away. That's because today I reminded myself to put Action Comics number 1000 on my pull list. Got one of the variant covers for that I'm excited to talk about. Anyway, I think I'm good with this. Exciting things in store in the future. You know, things go. Things going. Action Comics, number 1000. Excited for that. Alright. That's it for the single issue reviews. I'm definitely interested in what comes next from a lot of these books. Batwoman, knocked out of the park. Margaret Bennett, as always, same on Bombshells. Tom King wrote a great Poison Ivy story. Good stuff. Very good week. Liam Sharp, fantastic issue. Fantastic job writing Wonder Woman. It's pretty bad when a mini-series that's teaming her up with Batman writes Wonder Woman better. Man. Man, oh man, oh man. Alright. Let's go ahead and full screen this bitch and go on to Trade Talk. So, live audience, it's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. I'll catch y'all in a bit. For those that don't know, after Trade Talk, I will go back and do a little bit of interaction with the live audience, so you can stick around for that if you want. Actually, you want to know my superpower? Aquaman. I don't know. I can do that Powerade though. If I'm really thirsty, I can take Powerade out of the fridge and drink the whole thing in one go without breathing. All right. Kids, don't grow a mustache. Otherwise, whenever you drink or eat something, you gotta check your mustache to see if you got food or water in it. It's not fun. All right. Finally, Trade Talk. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Trade Talk. This time, we'll be returning to a galaxy far, far away and talk about Jason Aaron's Star Wars Volume 6, Out Among the Stars. This is an interesting volume in that when I first started doing comic reviews a couple years ago now, I asked people, hey, what are some books I should read? And someone suggested, oh, Star Wars, the new Marvel series. And that was like, only a couple issues in, 4 or 5, maybe 6 issues in, and I picked it up and I was like, this is well written, but I just don't care. I'm just not super invested in this. I didn't think it was like really, really, really well written. Just didn't grab me. But I've liked the trades. I've liked the ongoing story in the trades quite a bit. But it's just never, I've never wanted to read Star Wars monthly, the main title. This trade, if this was what the book had been doing the whole time, I would have read the shit out of it. You have no clue how all over this book I would have been if this is what the entire series had been. So this trade's a lot of short stories. It's like each chapter is just own self-contained story, the last page of which tells you, gives you a preview what's going to happen next issue. And I shouldn't say self-contained, because everything in here is dependent on events that have happened throughout Aaron's run. Like, everything is premised on, well, this is a thing that's been going on with these characters, or this is a thing that the Rebellion has been trying to do, or this character was introduced in the book, and now he's a threat here. It's all based on that. So it's not like it's completely, you couldn't know anything about Star Wars and the new expanded universe, and you could just pick this up and be fine. No, you do have to know things. But it's just on its own. It's just these stories that once you know these things, you don't have to know everything about the characters, every little tiny thing that's going on. It's like, okay, Luke and Leia were running away from a TIE fighter, and Luke flew their ship into a nebula to escape it, but that caused the ship to have mechanical failures. They had to land on a uncharted planet on a deserted island, and they had to survive there because they couldn't get their ship up, and so it's just Luke and Leia hanging out, trying to survive in the wild, and that's really cool. They're able to steal some ship from the Empire when they finally show up to try to deal with them, and get off planet. Yeah, okay, cool. Solid story. Art looks good. It's all I really got to say. The art looks good. I'll talk a little bit about that more in the Han Solo issue, because that's when I can show you some of the stuff I think, more problems with. I don't know. This image of Luke kind of does it too. All right, so, Luke's face is incredibly detailed to the point where I almost wonder if the artist used a reference photo and was, very, very meticulous in capturing Mark Hamill's likeness. Then as you go down the image, things just start to lose a lot of detail, and I feel like I would have rather taken a image of Luke Skywalker that didn't look 100% like Mark Hamill in the face for an image of Luke Skywalker where his hand looked more fully rendered. Just things like that. It's just, it looks a little inconsistent. I can talk about that more when we get to the Han Solo story. But then the next story is about Lando and... what is her name? Lando Calrissian... Sana Starros is Han Solo's apparent wife, estranged wife, I guess. She approaches Lando with a plan, a scam, and she needs his connections to make it happen. So she has this whole elaborate scenario where she's got some space pirates that she's going to sell some weapons to, and then she narcs on the space pirates to the Empire. in order to make more money. So she got payment from the space pirates, she got payment from the Empire, and then she got payment from Jabba the friggin' Hutt because she tells him about where the weapons are that these pirates stole, blah, 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 blah. And so she's, you know, conned 3 people into paying her an outrageous sum for these weapons that she has never even fucking had. And by the end of it, she also gets the weapons that she's been selling to 3 different people. And taking Lando along the whole way and just getting him in all kinds of shit. So it's pretty funny. I like this scene where she's in the Empire, or talking to someone from the Empire. And, you know, oh, enough of this nonsense. Tell me where to find the guns or your friend dies. Whoa, now, let's not... he's not my friend. Shoot him and I won't so much as blink. Hey, point that thing at her and I'll tell you all you need to know. Poor Lando's just caught in the fucking middle of this shit. No idea what to do. It's really good. So that was fun, you know. And again, the art is really solid. And we set up what the Han Solo story is going to be with Gracchus the Hutt, which is cool. I like Gracchus the Hutt. He's probably my new favorite extended universe character for the new EU. But like, we set up this story with Gracchus the Hutt with Han Solo, and again, this kind of shows what my problem is from the art from a guy by the name of Salvador Larroca. So here was this image of Han Solo, and if you look at the face, that looks like Harrison Ford. I have no doubt in my mind that if I go looking on Google Images, I could probably find an image of Harrison Ford somewhere that looks a lot like that. And that looks like a very unfinished hand in comparison. Like, that hand would be fine in most other comic books, as far as, like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, get through the book. It's really weird to juxtapose that with that heavily detailed a face. You know? It just looks really weird. Then the angle on the face doesn't quite match the scene. You know, it's like the neck's this way, but the face is this way. Which is just an awkward way to hold your head. Like, the neck's forward, and the face is off. So there's stuff like that where I'm like, it looks good, but you can't scrutinize it too much. So I do really like this cover. That's cool. So if you don't know anything about Gracchus the Hutt, he is not like your average Hutt. He is not like Jabba, where he's big and fat, or the other Hutts that you saw in the Clone Wars series. Gracchus is strong. Gracchus lifts, bro. Do you even lift, bro? Because Gracchus lifts, bro. And the Rebellion has captured Gracchus from an Imperial prison ship and is transferring him to another site for interrogation on where he keeps weapons stashed so the Rebellion can confiscate those and use them. But they need Han Solo to make the transfer to the interrogation area. And Han Solo's like, there's no way you're putting Gracchus the frickin' Hutt on my ship. And yeah, as they're trying to bicker with each other and get him to this other planet, Gracchus sabotages them a bit while trying to whisper, you know, sweet nothings in Han Solo's ear to try to convince him of things. Try to convince him to betray the Rebellion and whatnot. But he also, you know, meddles with their hyperdrive and blah, blah, blah. You're risking your life to take me to jail, but the irony is you're the one who's truly in prison, Han Solo. So he's trying to, like, play on the duality of Han Solo as this former rogue. You must miss it, the life you lived before this, before the Rebellion. Fly in the spaceways as your own man, answerable to no one and nothing but the stars, taking what you wanted when you needed it, or when you wanted it. The greatest smuggler who ever lived. I could give you that life back. Make your problems with Jabba disappear. Make you richer than you have ever dreamed you could be. All you have to do is let me go. Am I the only one imagining like Hannibal Lecter style Anthony Hopkins voicing Gracchus the Hutt? You know, it had to be heavily modulated or something because Anthony Hopkins has kind of like a higher pitched, raspier voice. But man, the way this is like worded, it's very that like meticulous. Hello, Clarice, kind of thing, and I'm really digging it. I feel like I've seen Harrison Ford make this face before. Does anyone else feel like they've seen Harrison Ford make this face before? It's really distracting. So anyway, there's this whole plan, and Gracchus escapes and kills some stormtroopers. He escapes his bonds and kills some stormtroopers who boarded the Falcon, and that was pretty cool. I like this a lot. They see a Hutt, and they're not intimidated by it physically, but Gracchus is much more intimidating than they realize. Gracchus is not like the other Hutts. But then that immediately backfires on Han Solo, and Han Solo's, captured and stuff, and looks like he's in trouble, and Gracchus says, everything that I offered you, I'm taking back. Too late, Solo. My offer just expired, and your life will soon follow if you two don't do exactly as I say. Chewbacca, get in the cockpit and set course for Teth. Do it or Solo dies. Teth. You said Teth, right? What's on Teth? Everything I need to get myself back where I belong. Back in power. Hurry it up, Wookiee. Take us there as fast as this crate of junk will go. That's probably enough, right? I'm pretty sure that's enough. Solo code 795 level 3. All of a sudden, Gracchus just horribly electrocuted. Because Solo had a plan all along to trick him into revealing the true location of his weapons and resources so that he could ultimately get him, because he knew Gracchus was too tough to crack under interrogation. And yeah, that's the end of that one. I really like that one. That's probably my favorite story in this. And again, I'm such a fan of one-and-done comics that I just love them to death. That being said, the biggest problem I had reading this is it felt really, really like a long read, because I'd enjoy a story and I'd be digging it in the chapter. Then I get to the end of the chapter and I just kind of feel done and ready to do something else, but I was still only like halfway through the book or whatever. And I was like, man, got a lot more left to read. So I think this is why one-and-done style stories have kind of lost popularity, because it doesn't read well in trade. I'll fully admit to it. It's one of those things, so, that might be a problem. But I would have loved these when they were coming out. You have no idea how all over this book I would have been if I knew that they were doing one-and-dones for a whole arc. Anyway, then we go to the continuation from the last volume. In the last volume, C-3PO was captured, and R2-D2 took off on his own to go save him. So this continues that. This is R2-D2's solo mission to rescue C-3PO. I really like the framing device in this story, because R2-D2 is a ridiculously overpowered god droid. So I really like the framing device in this issue, wherein it's the R2 owner's manual. The R2 series astromech is a utility droid designed for starship maintenance, thus it comes with a variety of appendages. I just want to read all the narration out loud. The R2's protocols are all geared toward repair and navigational assistance. Its defensive capabilities are non-existent. Given limited upgrades, the R2 astromech can also be quite adept at interfacing with other computers. Though the R2 unit does not possess the processing power to effectively communicate with the most sophisticated starship computers. The R2 is not an adaptive unit, though given the proper programming, its problem-solving skills can show a marked improvement. The R2 Astromech is not a social droid. It is designed to function alone. If your R2 unit begins showing signs of attachment to other droids, a full memory wipe is recommended for proper functionality. The R2 is a repair and navigational droid. It cannot perform full pilot functions. Though it is best to have realistic expectations of its capabilities. Oh wait. If properly maintained, your R2 unit can perform satisfactorily for a number of years, though it is best to have realistic expectations of its capabilities. So again, I like that. This is a really cool framing device. As you see R2-D2 do all this shit, like fucking murder stormtroopers all over the place and set up another droid, an Imperial droid, as if it's the one that's been doing all this. Cool little reference to K2SO's model line. So it does all that, and, you know, it's like, it is not a pilot droid. And yet it's in a dog fight with Darth Vader. Like, that's a really cool framing device, and it's cool to see R2 get, like, an issue just to himself kind of thing, and C-3PO is, of course, annoying. Though I will say, at a certain point, it's like, this kind of becomes one of the problems with the EU, particularly setting it between movies like this. If fucking R2-D2 is pulling tricks on Darth Vader, how impressive a pilot is Darth Vader? Like, can we remember Vader Down for a second, where Darth Vader took out an entire squadron of rebel pilots by himself in his TIE fighter, unprepared for battle at all, and the only reason that his ship was down was because Luke Skywalker himself rammed him? Like, that was an impressive piloting feat. But somehow, R2-D2 manages to outmaneuver Vader long enough for Luke and Han to show up and take Vader by surprise. Like, just... I know Vader got taken by surprise in Episode 4, but it feels ridiculous when anyone can do it. And it's something that you can do again and again. I really don't like that. So this it was a fun idea for an issue, and it had a cool framing device. I think it goes a little too far for me. And then the next one is a story about Scar Squadron and their tactics that they use, and why the stormtrooper that carries a lightsaber thinks the way he does. I really like this scene where you see a kind of like warmonger, like, ruling over some peasants and stuff, and like taking all their food and whatnot. And then Scar Squadron shows up because they're looking for rebels in that sector, and they beat the shit out of the guy, and then when he's down, beat the shit out of him more in front of the locals. So they just became these people's heroes. Never again will you have to worry about tyrants like that. Your village is under our protection now. But to ensure that protection, we require your assistance. There are those in this galaxy who want to destroy our way of life, who want to take away the protection we provide. They call themselves rebels. We call them interplanetary terrorists. We believe this group of radicals currently has a base hidden somewhere within the star system. Now please, my dear new friends, does anyone know where we can find these people? And that's how the Empire figures out where this rebel base is in this system and fucking demolishes it. Goes in, one stormtrooper with the lightsaber kills all these people. Long live the Empire, and just burns the village to the fucking ground, and then leaves the bodies out for the main cast to find, Team Skywalker to find, and they're just having this moment of, can we bury them? No, there might be booby traps. And they just leave a message there. Greetings from Scar Squadron, long live the Empire. It's pretty harsh, and so they just, before they leave, they pile up the bodies and burn them collectively. that's a really solid issue. That like, what's that tactic called? It's not diplomacy. Oh, Rumsfeld and fucking not Mattis. Oh, what's his name? Not Flynn. Betrayus. Betrayus was a big fan of this outreach and diplomacy style of warfare for soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. You can read soldiers talk about it. They fucking hated it. Nation building style of warfare where they're like, oh, we're going to help perform or help build bridges between the people so they'll feel the need to fight for themselves and they'll be willing to help us as and not see us as conquerors or whatever. It's a tactic that has some effectiveness. I'll be perfectly honest in admitting, and so it's really cool to see that tactic used by the Empire to go just lay waste to a village or to a outpost of rebels. That was pretty good. I was reasonably impressed by that. That's well written. And then we get Star Wars Annual number 3 called The Sand Provides, in which we see kind of the life of a Tusken Raider child and the way in which his life has been horribly demolished by sand. And Obi-Wan Kenobi does him a favor. Oh, this isn't the annual, sorry. Obi-Wan Kenobi does him a favor and gets him to a new village of sand people. So it's just from the journals of old Ben Kenobi. Okay, thanks, Obi-Wan. That was nice of you. Then there's Star Wars Annual number 3, in which Han and Leia are looking for a planet for a new rebel base. That's been kind of their mission for a while, and I guess this is how we're eventually going to get Hoth. But someone who Han Solo fucked over in the past has caught up with them yet again, just like Sana Starros, and so they're here to kill him, and Princess Leia has to save his ass. That's the story. That's the whole story. And she does. But that is literally the whole story. It's okay. It's not bad or anything. It's just there's not that much to say. But yeah. I kind of like this conversation at the end. Captain Solo. Leia, listen. Look, you saved my neck out there, Leia, and I just want you to know, Han, don't. It's not necessary for you to. Look, Han Solo always pays his debts, okay? So don't you worry about that. You bucket brain. You don't owe me anything, Han. In the Alliance, we don't keep a tally of debts. And we don't blame others when our choices turn out poorly. We make the best of it together. Yeah. You really are something else. You know that, Princess? Oh, you just love high-roading me, don't you? Rubbing my nose and how honorable you all are. Well, no way, sister. Not this time. Square is square, and I'm not going anywhere till we are, whether you like it or not. I like that. That's cute. That's a well-written scene between Han and Leia. I like that she's clearly the smarter of the two and the more intelligent, emotionally intelligent. So that was a cute scene. I also like the art in that issue a lot better. It's just, you know, alright, let me find a good panel of them. A good close-up-ish panel. Alright, look. That looks like Han Solo, and that looks like Princess Leia. Do they look like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher? No, but I know which characters they are, and the art looks natural, and it doesn't feel like other parts are more finished than, like, different parts are more finished than others. So that's just good stuff. Yeah. Ultimately, a really fun volume, though. I think I would have liked it more if I just read it when it was coming out, or just read one chapter a day kind of thing. But a fun book, nice one and dones. I can always go for some of those. So, everyone, thank you very much for watching Trade Talk. Hope you had a good time. I will see you later. Bye. Alright, and here we are back in the live stream. How's everybody doing? All right, lots of conversations, lots of people saying go. Man. Okay. Not seeing much chat in the live stream, so thanks to whoever stuck around for Trade Talk. Glad you enjoyed. I don't have much else. It's 10:30. I've been talking for damn near 2 hours, so I think I'm going to call it right there. Before I go, though, reminder to everybody. Comic Book Club Volume 2 will be taking place on March 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be discussing Captain America, Man Out of Time by Mark Waid. You can go get this volume somewhere. You have time to get it, or you can see if your local library has it. You have to get it legally. That is the requirement. If you have a legal copy of this, if you have a microphone, preferably a webcam, and headphones, you can join the live show on March 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be talking about this. You can join. Those are the requirements. I do, of course, reserve the right to ban anyone at any point for any reason, because that's how I do. But that didn't happen last week, so I am certainly hopeful that people show up and have a good time talking about it. Anyway, that'll do it for comic reviews. Everyone, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye!